All right, team, welcome to today's Explainer. As your consultant on this, my goal today is to fundamentally transform how you approach research gap analysis. We are totally stepping away from that frustrating, old-school method of just blindly searching for blank spaces in the literature. Instead, we're going to look at how to architect highly strategic, deeply impactful research agendas. If you've ever finished a massive literature review and just felt completely lost, staring at the screen trying to figure out what to study next, well, you're in the exact right place. Let's dive in. Think of gap analysis like reading a map. When you finally wrap up a grueling systematic review, you aren't just staring at a random mountain of data. You are mapping an entire landscape. You aren't just noting the blank spaces. You're actively trying to discover where the true knowledge frontiers actually lie. You really have to ask yourself, is this space blank because literally nobody has ventured out there yet? Or is it blank because there's simply nothing important to find? So, here's our game plan for today's Explainer. We'll start with mapping the evidence landscape, then move to AI-assisted gap finding, identifying different gap types, exploring intersections and translations, and finally, refining your research question.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, Mapping the Evidence Landscape. We all know the drill, right? You spend months extracting data, you finally get a clear picture of the literature, and then you're just staring into the void of what's missing. Honestly, that transition can be the most intellectually demanding work of the entire process. But a well-conducted gap analysis, it completely transforms your review from a dead-end list of what we know into a powerful launching pad for what the field desperately needs. We are systematically hunting down absence and inconsistency to find the true blind spots in our collective knowledge.
Which brings us to Section 2, AI-assisted gap finding.
Look, when you're dealing with hundreds of papers, human memory, and honestly, simple spreadsheets just don't cut it anymore. That's where computational tools step in to act as your compass. By using AI to systematically analyze massive stacks of papers, we can rapidly extract relevant variables, like population, outcome, and intervention. It literally takes your data structure and identifies the empty or sparsely filled cells, pointing out combinations that rarely or never appear together.
And this matrix perfectly illustrates what I'm talking about in practice. We have our populations on the rows and interventions on the columns. The contrast here is just undeniable. When you see a cell packed with, say, 50 studies right next to an entirely empty cell with 0 studies, the research gap goes from this vague, fuzzy feeling to a glaringly obvious target.
All right, moving right along to Section 3, Identifying Different Gap Types.
Now, as we navigate this landscape, you absolutely must realize that not all blank spaces are created equal. You have to distinguish between two fundamental concepts here: genuine gaps and contested terrain. A genuine gap is pretty straightforward. It's a completely unstudied or severely understudied question. Contested terrain, on the other hand, is a crowded cell where multiple studies have totally contradictory findings. Treating contested terrain like it's a genuine gap is a rookie mistake we definitely want to avoid. For example, if an area has dozens of studies, but it's basically a coin toss, like 45% finding one thing and 55% concluding the exact opposite, you haven't found a coverage gap. You've found contested terrain. The knowledge isn't missing, it's just highly uncertain, and that requires a completely different strategic response, like testing much higher quality methodologies to figure out exactly why the literature is fighting with itself.
Let's look at a practical case study, exercise for depression. You might find 90 studies, and at first glance, the evidence looks like a total mess. But when you use AI to analyze this contested evidence, a really clear pattern emerges. High-intensity clinical settings consistently show benefits, while low-intensity home settings show weak, contradictory effects. See, that isn't a contradiction at all. It's incredibly valuable, context-dependent knowledge. Your next research question shouldn't just be, does it work, but rather, why does it work here but not over there?
Let's transition over to Section 4, Exploring Intersections in Translations.
You don't always need to go completely off the edge of the map to find a great research question. Sometimes there are absolute treasures hidden right in plain sight in well-studied areas. Intersection gaps occur when you combine two heavily researched elements to reveal a totally novel combination. For instance, the literature on ADHD management is huge, and adolescent health is huge. But the specific intersection of those two, like psychosocial interventions for ADHD specifically during the transition to adulthood, might be completely empty. That intersection is a goldmine.
Aside from intersections, we really need to hunt for translation gaps. This happens when we definitively know an intervention works perfectly in a highly controlled, sterile lab setting, but we have absolutely zero idea how to implement it sustainably in the messy, under-resourced real world. The efficacy is definitely there, but the real-world implementation knowledge is just totally missing. Community health workers in low-resource settings are a prime example here. Despite over 40 randomized controlled trials proving their efficacy, they are still poorly implemented in practice. There's a massive research gap regarding real-world implementation barriers, scalability, and cost-effectiveness. The takeaway? Never, ever neglect implementation as a source of critically important research.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 5, Refining Your Research Question.
Let's tie the whole shebang together with a quick, actionable checklist for evaluating task risk versus AI capability. Step 1, map the landscape. Step 2, identify the gap types. Step 3, visualize it. Step 4, refine your question. And Step 5, team, this is where you really need to calibrate your AI judgment skills, validate with human experts. AI is fantastic at spotting patterns, but it carries real risks. It can easily hallucinate fake citations or completely fabricate statistics to fill a gap that doesn't actually exist. Always cross-check the AI's output against clinical reality.
And while we're on the subject of validation, you have to avoid this massive pitfall, mistaking mere rarity for actual clinical importance. Sure, maybe nobody has ever studied blue-eyed women under 25 in Finland for a highly specific intervention, but is there any actual theoretical reason they would respond differently? If not, that's just trivia, not a meaningful gap. Also, don't ignore mechanistic gaps. Sometimes we know a treatment works, but the real gap is that we literally have no idea how or why it works. By combining computational AI visibility to systematically map the data with your own calibrated expert human judgment to decide what actually matters, you can build a truly strategic, evidence-based research agenda. You elevate your work from just studying what hasn't been studied to studying what fundamentally advances the field. Which leaves me with one final question for you to chew on today. Looking at your own work, what gap in your field would you actually want to study if you could choose?